Hello, my name's Daryl McMaster, CEO of Sustainable Homes. For those of you who visited our homes or seen our DVDs in the past, welcome back. For those of you who are new, maybe a little explanation is in order. Recently, Sustainable Homes was acknowledged by the National Association of Home Builders Research Center as having the largest number of the highest scoring Emerald homes of any builder in the nation. And behind us is our most advanced and highest scoring home to date. A lot of people call this home the greenest house in America. We call it a point source home because not only does this home generate 100% of all of its utilities and the fuel for the owner's transportation from the home, but the best part for us as builders is a 48-month return on investment. You see, this home runs 100% off of the environment. It uses rainwater harvesting for all the water used in the house. There's no water meter, there's no well. All the wastewater is treated here on site, with the extra affluent being used in sprinklers in the backyard. It has a geothermal HVAC, so we're using the Earth's core for our heating and cooling. It also has a grid-tied solar voltaic system, which nets a net zero energy on our home. But it also charges the owner's electric vehicle. So all of this combined in the house is generated from this, the point source home. Now, I've been building houses for 36 years, coming from a family that's been building houses for 65 years. And the truth is, in the building industry, we've seen very little technological changes compared to the world around us. In the last 100 years, our homes have been basically used as just domiciles. We think it's time that we start to look at our homes as a generation station. Some people say that we think outside the box. Truth is, we think it's time for a whole new box. So what we're going to do today is break down the components that make up this house. One of the components is the 48-month return on investment. So for years, people, the non-believers and the naysayers who've told us that this can't be done and never could be done at a realistic return on investment, my suggestion to you is maybe sit down, get a seatbelt, strap yourself in, get a little duct tape, keep it nearby because you may need to wrap it around your head because it may explode when we start to show you that not only is this being done, it's being done every day. So let's get started. Of all the things that make up a sustainable home, the most important component is design. It's at the design phase that we're looking for site orientation, passive solar, cross ventilation. We're looking at the porches. We're looking at overhangs. It's at that point that we can be able to control how we're going to energize the house. Also, we're concerned with waste management. Yeah, waste management at the design stage. We're concerned with the impact that our homes are going to have on the environment. This particular home and most of our homes are built with finger-jointed studs, which are basically comprised of small pieces of wood that are reassembled back together. And then they create all the walls of our house. So what was once going to the landfill is now being used to completely rebuild houses. Once we've obtained a tight building envelope, our attention turns to inside air quality. The EPA says inside air quality is 3 to 5 times worse than what it is on the outside. Now, how we address that issue is with our energy recovery ventilator. The energy recovery ventilator allows us to control molds and allergens inside the home. And we can change the air in the home 2 to 3 times a day if need be. The paints that we use in this house have no volatile organic compounds. The cabinets are built with no urea formaldehyde plywood. The finishes that we use are low VOCs. The floors are organic dyes with organic finishes. It's all of these things put together that create a healthy quality of life in your home. Of all the components that make up a point source house, rainwater harvesting seems to get the most attention, not just locally but nationally. You see, a lot of people view this as some kind of new green movement, rainwater harvesting. The truth is that it's used throughout the world and its origin can be traced back to the Old Testament of the Bible. People ask, what happens if it doesn't rain? The truth is down here in Texas, we've just been through the drought of record, which dates back over 150 years. Not one of our homes even got below 50% storage capacity of our cisterns. So we know that a properly designed, professionally installed rainwater harvesting system will give us all the water that we need. So let's go ahead and let me walk you through how this system works. Now what happens here is we catch all the water from the roof. The water is then transferred through the gutters and then headed out to our cistern. But before we allow it to go into the cistern, it has to go through the first flush, whereby we take the first 100 gallons of water and basically discharge that water. We've been able to clean the leaves, clean off any kind of material that might have been in the roof. Now inside the tank we have 2 sets of filters before the water ever touches the main body of the cistern. This is all done by gravity. The water flows back to the house through a 50 micron filter, a 5 micron charcoal filter, and an ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet light displaces any and all bacteria. From the ultraviolet light, the water then goes into the house, giving our owners superior water, soft water. Now that we've captured this water, our concern turns to efficiency. With efficiency comes where are we using the majority of our water. Not just inside, but outside. 65 to 70% of all water used throughout the United States, especially in the South and Southwest, is directed to landscaping. Now, with that water, we're concerned with how it's being used. Well, we're transitioning now throughout the South to drought-tolerant, drought-resistant plants. One of the most efficient ways to water our native plants is through drip irrigation, where the water goes directly to the root ball. Now our focus turns to inside water efficiency, where we're using dual flush toilets, low flow shower heads, low flow faucets, all WaterSense products. We're also using Energy Star dishwashers and washing machines to reduce the water inside. Our average customer uses 35 to 50 gallons of water a day, half of what the national average is. Water efficiency is a real key when it comes to running a fully sustainable home. For our heating and cooling, we're using geothermal HVAC. You see, geothermal is the most energy efficient way that we can heat and cool our house. Plus, it also generates enough hot water for 7 to 9 months out of the year that we're getting free hot water. So let's let the experts at Water Furnace better explain this whole system.
If you're a typical homeowner, almost 2/3 of your total energy bill is for heating, cooling, and hot water. The rest is for lighting, appliances, and other usage. That means the biggest opportunity to save money on your energy bill is to increase the efficiency of your heating, cooling, and hot water system. A geothermal heat pump taps into the renewable solar energy stored in the ground to provide savings of up to 70% on utility bills. Although it operates similarly to a standard heat pump, a geothermal heat pump exchanges heat with the earth instead of the outdoor air. Outdoor air temperatures can vary greatly from day to night or from winter to summer, while the temperature just a few feet below the Earth's surface stays an average 55 degrees to 70 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. To see why that's so important, let's look at traditional conditioning systems. In order to cool your home, an ordinary system collects indoor heat and expels it outside. Unfortunately, summer temperatures can easily hit 90 or 100 degrees, which means outdoor air already is filled with heat and is less willing to accept more. The exchange process becomes harder and harder. The result is that an ordinary heat pump or air conditioner becomes least efficient at exactly the time you need it to be the most efficient. A geothermal unit never sees hot summer air. It collects heat from your home and moves it to the much cooler 55-degree Earth. It doesn't matter how much outdoor conditions fluctuate, the ground remains relatively constant. Thanks to the constant temperature of the Earth, a geothermal heat pump is more than twice as efficient at cooling than any regular heat pump or air conditioner. To warm your home, an ordinary heat pump reverses to collect outdoor heat from the air and move it indoors. Unfortunately, as winter temperatures drop, there's less and less available heat to collect. Again, the exchange process becomes harder, and the heat pump becomes least efficient at exactly the time you need it to be the most efficient. A geothermal unit never sees cold winter air. It draws from a reservoir of much warmer 55-degree temperatures, concentrates it, and moves it to your home. And, unlike a traditional furnace which returns less than 96 cents of heat for each dollar spent burning expensive, polluting fossil fuel, a geothermal heat pump returns up to $5 of heat for each dollar spent on electricity. That's because, unlike a furnace, a geothermal heat pump doesn't create heat through combustion. It simply collects and moves it. As you can see, there are many reasons to switch to a water furnace geothermal heat pump. It's the most efficient conditioning system available. It's environmentally friendly. It has the longest lifespan, and it provides quiet comfort. That's why we call it smarter from the ground up.
Of all the components that make up our home, energy efficiency is the most prevalent. Now, for years we've known that we could build net zero energy houses if you had a customer who was willing to spend enough money. The problem was his grandchildren would be the first to see the return on investment. What we do with our houses is we make them 60 to 70% more efficient than standard built houses. We do this through a number of processes, but mainly we do it through a tight building envelope. It's with that tight building envelope made up of spray foam insulation that allows us to reduce the electrical demand in this house on our air conditioning system. The air conditioning system on this house is a zoned system where we can shut down certain parts of the house at certain times of the day. It's comfort level of our customer that we're concerned with. This house uses fluorescent lights and LED light bulbs 100% in all of the fixtures. Speaking of fixtures, all the light fixtures in this house are Energy Star. Our appliances are Energy Star appliances, using the least amount of electricity possible, which is key to energy reduction. We also have motion control light switches in every bedroom, so when someone leaves that bedroom, the lights will automatically shut off. We also have this same feature in our laundry and all of our bathrooms. It isn't until we've done everything we can to reduce the electrical demand that our photovoltaic system makes financial sense and common sense. Behind me we have our inverter. The inverter is part of our photovoltaic solar array. Power is generated at the solar panels. It comes down to the inverter in a DC format. It is then changed over to AC power, which we then can use inside the house for appliances, lights, and all the needs inside the house. Now, during the day, when we create more electricity than we need, what it does is it spins our meter backwards. At night, we then can get our power back that we generated during the day in excess. Behind me is the solar array that powers this net zero energy home. But it's the industry-leading disruptive technology that we've been able to develop at Sustainable Homes that greatly reduces the electrical demand of our homes. In the case of this house, which is 3,100 square feet, we only have a 5 kW system to get to net zero energy. It wasn't until the owner decided that he wanted to fuel his electric car at his home that we added an additional 3.9 kilowatts just for the car. Of all the components that make up a point source house, the one that we are proudest of as builders is the return on investment. You see, if we cannot make these houses affordable, then there's only going to be a select few who are going to be able to ever own these homes. Now, in the particular case of this house, we did not receive any kind of local and/or state rebates available, only the federal tax rebate. Now, a lot of people ask, is that somewhere where we get cash back? No. What happens is the federal government allows a taxpayer to keep more of his taxable income and invest that money in his own particular house. Now, in the case of this house, that amount was probably about $40,000, or less than 10% of the total cost of construction.
So the house itself cost about $40,000 more than a comparable house that's custom and beautiful like this one on the same lot and such. That $40,000 though is offset in a matter of 4 years because I'm saving money on my electrical bill, on my gas bill, and my water bill. Once you factor that in, after 4 years, I'm making money. There's no way that that $40,000 isn't worth it to me up front. And, by the way, by financing that $40,000 into my house, I get the benefit of the tax deduction.
We discovered a long time ago there's more than one type of green. There's the type of green that's worried about what's in their pocketbook, and there's the type of green that's worried about what's on the environment. We want to save the environment. We want our children to have a place to live. We want our grandchildren to have a clean place to live. But we also want money in our pocketbook. And building this house was a wise decision to mesh the two ideas of the two different types of green.
Having a house that supports my car, requires no electricity, no water, self-sufficient, out in the country, why doesn't everybody do it?
Hopefully today we've been able to explain to you just exactly how a point source home works, and that you should consider a point source home in your future. Whether you consider yourself an environmentalist, this is the cleanest running, least impact way to live in today's homes. Or you consider yourself a survivalist. You got your own water, you have your own power, you have your own fuel for your transportation, where you are in charge of it. Or you consider yourself an economist, where you're looking to retire, you're going to be on a fixed income. What better choice that you have to put not only your future utilities and your present utilities, but the fuel for your transportation in the price of your home at today's interest rates, at today's costs. So where does the future lead us at Sustainable Homes? Well, presently we're already building 3 more homes more advanced than this house here. We have planned a community of 52 homes, a complete subdivision of homes built exactly this way. So for further information, please email us, contact us in any way, or come by and visit one of the models.
Now, we looked around and we went to many, many builders. This process took us 5 years to find both location and builder. And the only person that we found that could do what we wanted, had experience and proven that they could do what we wanted, was a guy named Daryl McMaster from Sustainable Homes of Texas.